Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video doing GWV Sunday Round-Up. Today's second video, so this is your eclectic mix of this map. Going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature, anomalies, solar activity, Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation, QBO, and the weather for next week to 10 days. We'll bring you up to date with all of the latest with the east winds, which have now set in. It's feeling very cold out there. You haven't ventured out yet. All places have got that east wind now, and snow is falling in some areas as well. Have a look at the latest on that later on in the video. The first video release today was the 5th spring update. Have a look at that if you have not yet done so. We're going to have a little update for summer later on this afternoon. And we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock tonight. That'd be kind of like a look at the 12Z and also a Snow Watch live stream. So that's going to be really interesting. And I shall see you live from 6 o'clock. A lot to get through for this one, though. So we're going to start off with solar activity. This solar disk is currently looking on outside this today from surham.net. Got a spotless solar disk. Once again, no visible sunspots on outside solar disk. So therefore, solar activity is at very low levels and will remain at very low levels for the next 3 days. This is GWV Solar Activity Tracker, updated by our good friend James Ackrill. Thank you to James for updating this. Updated to the 7th of February today. So the orange line is depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. You can see that we're still at a very low level of activity. We're still getting, several days that don't have any sunspots at all. Got one of those days today. In between, we are getting a small number of sunspots, but really this is still a very, very low level of activity. The spiking sunspots that we had at the end of November looks like it's a false start, really, and we're back at really low levels of solar activity. Not sort of solar minimum levels, not where we was back in 2019 and into early 2020. But nevertheless, we're at a very low level. The trend lines, thick green and thick red lines, they are sort of just flat-lining away. Not on the floor of a chart, but they're pretty low down. And it just tells us that we are at a very low level of solar activity at the moment. Oh, hello there. It's Gav Kenobi. Thank you, Rich, for sending this one through. Hello there. Right, this is showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch for this year. So for 2021 so far, I've had 20 days without sunspots. That is 53% of the year, comparable to 2020, which had 200 days through the whole year without sunspots. That was 57% of the year. Bear in mind, we're only a month or just over a month into 2021. But nevertheless, it tells us that at the moment, solar activity is weak, and that's quite a high percentage, really, for the second year of the solar cycle. So everything's telling us that at the moment, solar activity is at a low level, and it's a slow old start to solar cycle 24. As to solar cycle 25, I should say, as solar cycle 24 was a very slow start. Right, this is how the oceans were looking when we did last week's Sunday Round-Up. So we've got our 3 areas of interest, of course. Got the ENSO region just here. Got the North Pacific over there. Got North Atlantic over here. That's how the oceans looked last week. This is the very latest in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies. So the La Nina goes on in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. It is like a central and western base La Nina in that that's where the coldest sea surface temperature anomalies are. However, things have gone a bit cooler actually over on the eastern side of the equatorial Pacific as well. So La Nina continues there. Further north in the northern Pacific, things are continuing to cool down. That's the coolest the Northern Pacific has been for a few years, probably since around 2017, 2018. And in the North Atlantic, very little change through there. Most parts of the North Atlantic are still looking above average with sea surface temperature anomalies. Could there be a little bit of a tripole signal starting to emerge? Warm through here, maybe cooler through there, and then warmer again up there. Not sure, but perhaps something to keep an eye on over the next few weeks. This is the Southern Oscillation Index. This is from Queensland Government. So SOI, of course, is in its positive phase because we've got La Nina. So when the SOI is positive, that's where it's set up in the Southern Ocean, will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, that's where it's set up, will be reflective of El Nino. It's always weather that drives the index. SOI is very positive at the moment. The 30-day average is 13.14. The 90-day average is 14.21. So yeah, very positive phase of the SOI, as you expect, given that we have got La Nina. These are our so measuring air pressure between Tahiti and Darwin. There are two columns just there, and then this is the SOI column just here. You can see that most of the numbers are positive, sometimes very positive, sometimes more weakly positive, but you know, it's all very reflective of La Nina at the moment, as you would expect, given that we are in a mature sort of La Nina that's been going on for several months now. Alright, I'm doing a bit of refreshing, so I'm going to pause the video there, I think, and we'll refresh the tabs. I'll see you in a moment. Right, the back tabs are refreshed, so hopefully you won't have any more problems with that. Right, QBO next, quasi-biennial oscillation. Basically, it's all very much as it was last week. So we've got the ECQBO, it's from NASA. ECQBO is lurking in the top of the stratosphere. Westerly QBO goes on in the troposphere. It's been a mistake for like months and months and months. We should be in an ECQBO. The ECQBO here should have descended last year, but it did not. It stayed in the stratospheric level of the atmosphere. Westerly QBO hung on and powered up through the summer and into the autumn. So Westerly QBO still goes on in the troposphere, but the ECQBO continues to be in the stratosphere. We wait to see whether the ECQBO will ever descend. At some point, the ECQBO will descend from the stratosphere to the troposphere, but when it happens, who can say? At the moment, it's stalemate between the westerly in the troposphere and the easterly in the stratosphere. What I would say is that even though the ECQBO has been stuck in the stratosphere through this winter, it has been more like an ECQBO type winter with all the blocking that we've had. So yeah, it's interesting what's going on, and it could be that the ECQBO in the stratosphere is still having an impact in keeping the polar vortex in its box, really, and making this westerly QBO a lot weaker and almost kind of like an easterly QBO. In effect. So yeah, we wait and see anyway what's going to happen with that. Right, haven't shown you this for some time. This is how Eurasian snow cover is looking, and Arctic sea ice as well. So the yellow areas where we've got Arctic sea ice, of course, we're almost at the peak of the freeze up in the Arctic, so there's a lot of ice up there, although it is lagging behind 30-year averages, I think. But in terms of snow cover, you can see that we've got snow cover into many parts of Eastern Europe. Some parts of Central Europe also have that snow cover as well. Not much in the west at the moment, but expect more to appear. This is from yesterday, Saturday, 6th of February. We'll probably look at this again next Sunday's roundup video, and it'll be interesting how much of Europe is covered in snow by next weekend, because I think we will see quite a big expansion of snow cover from the east of Europe into the west of Europe. In the next few days, because most parts of Europe are going to become really cold. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, and I think we will see snow cover expanding westwards across much of Europe in the coming days. Right, this is how the Arctic oscillation is looking. So this is the AO observed and forecast chart. The black line shows where we've been with the Arctic oscillation. The red line's at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. As with the SOI, it's just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It doesn't drive anything in its own terms, just tells what the atmosphere is doing. When the AO is negative, you've got blocking over the Arctic, and when the AO is positive, you've got low pressure over the Arctic. You can see that the AO has been negative all the way through winter. Went negative around the first day of December. It stayed negative through this winter so far. That's where we currently are. Very negative with the Arctic oscillation running up towards the middle of February. The AO will remain in its negative phase. In the second half of February, we might start to see the AO begin to lift back closer to neutral, but to be honest, it's in the same range for GFS ensembles. I think we basically say the AO will continue to be negative for the next couple of weeks. And so the blocking that we've had all winter, northern blocking, will go on. NAO looks like this. Again, same idea, just an index that's reflecting the absolute state, doesn't drive anything. So in terms, just tells what it actually is doing. This time measuring air pressures between Iceland and the Azores. So the NAO has been in a weekly negative phase through this winter. See that from the black line just there. The current position of the NAO is like neutral to weekly negative. GFS ensembles are forecasting for the next few days the NAO will go a little bit more negative actually, and then by the middle of February possibly moving back up towards weekly positive. Been a weekly negative NAO winter. That's what we predicted when we did our NAO forecast back in June. So yeah, I think the NAO forecast this year has gone quite well. Right, so those cold easterly winds are in. This is the reason I've been rushing through the first part of the video to get onto this. So the cold easterly winds are in now. All places are looking pretty cold. Our highest temperature is 7 degrees in the south of Ireland there. Shirking Island is at 7 degrees. Cornwall is like at 4 degrees. But most other places are colder, and in fact, some places are still hovering around or below freezing at the moment, especially in the north. So we've got Aviemore at -1. We've got Spadalum at -1. Bolmar on the east coast there is at 2 degrees. Edinburgh just at +1 degree. And down in the southeast corner where it's snowing, of course, we've got Andrewsfield at freezing. Wattisham is at -1. Headcorn Aerodrome is at freezing. Manster is at -1 as well. Into the Midlands, just 2 degrees at Church Lawford, and freezing at Leek. Into Wales, Lake Vyrnwy is at -1. Capel Currig is at +1. So very close to freezing. It's cold out there. It feels even colder with the east winds. Those east winds are going to be with us for the next few days as well. So this is not going to go away quickly. It's going to stay cold for several days into the future. This is how the radar picture is currently looking. So we've got this heavy snow down in the southeastern corner through East Anglia, southeastern parts of England, getting as far west as London. So, yes, snow event taking place in the southeast. That'll be on all day with drifting of the snow as well in that far southeastern corner. Then we've got light snow. A lot of this is sort of snow flurries, light snow showers through eastern Scotland down into northeast England. That may well get heavier as the day wears on, moving in off the North Sea. Otherwise, there's a lot of dry weather, but some of these snow showers will break through into central and western parts of the country as the day goes on. That's from Weather Outlook, of course. Right, this is how the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking for the next couple of weeks. The red line is 30-year upper air temperature average at London today. Cold now, and going to stay cold over the next few days as well. Temperatures at or under -10 at 850 HPA. Bitterly cold for the coming days. At the end of the week into the weekend, we still have this split within the GFS ensembles. Generally, it looks like things will get a little bit milder with the upper air temperatures towards the weekend, but several of them are keeping things cold, actually, through the weekend. If it does turn milder over the weekend, it looks like it's only brief, because as we go through into the following week, the third week of February, there's a clear and well-defined cooling trend once again. We have got some very cold GFS ensemble members turning up once more, going down to around -15 at 850 HPA, especially later on. So yeah, it might get a little bit less cold around next weekend, but if it does, it looks like it'll only be brief. We're probably back into pretty cold weather as we go into the second half of February. Precipitation-wise, we look like this. So not a huge amount of precipitation, but there will be precipitation around, and of course, when it's cold through this period, all of that will be snow primarily. As it gets a little bit less cold through here, might go more towards rain. As it gets colder again around there, we might see an increasing risk of snow into the second half of the month. Temperature anomalies from the 7th to the 15th of February, looking very cold, not just the UK, but through most parts of Europe now, actually, certainly Northern Europe anyway. So extremely cold through Scandinavia, much of Eastern Europe into Germany as well. Not quite as severely cold as that for France, Ireland and the UK, but cold enough. The temperature scale here taking us down to around 4 to 6 degrees below average across the UK, so it will be a very cold week to come. And, yeah, all being brought in, of course, by those beastly easterlies. This is how the precipitation anomaly looks. Actually pretty dry for most parts of the country. Remember, when it's cold, the air will hold less moisture, so if it's cold, it will tend to be dry. But what precipitation does fall is going to be falling as snow. The most likely area for snow, of course, is going to be in the east, and that's why the precipitation anomaly there is closer to average. This is latest info map from earthnullschool.net showing easterlies through the country. We've been watching this all week. A few days ago, the easterlies was across Scotland. Now the easterlies have descended across the country, all places now bringing in those bitterly cold easterly winds. Look how far into the Atlantic this easterly goes as well. So the easterly is like originating from here and pushing across Europe. That's Russia, of course, pushing across Europe from Russia into the Atlantic. And then on into Canada. So it's almost like a reverse zonal flow, actually, with easterly fetch from Russia to Canada, as opposed to a westerly fetch, zonal flow, from Canada to Russia, which is what we normally get, what we did get last winter with the polar vortex of doom. Right, this is how the UK Met is looking for Wednesday then, still bringing most bitterly cold easty winds on Wednesday, and they could drag in more snow showers with them as well. We will have a look at like the snow potential in the coming days in our live stream tonight, so we're not going to look too much in the way of look for too much in the way of snow for this video. That's what we're going to be looking at in the live stream as well, as per 12 said. That'll be from 6 o'clock tonight. Thursday, we're under a ridge of high pressure, so probably dry but very cold on Thursday. Then into Friday, low pressure is trying to come in off the Atlantic up against that area of high pressure. There could be some significant snow with that as the weather front tries to get in, but how far that gets, I'm a little bit dubious. It looks like it's straight to get much further than like Cornwall and Ireland, really. But we'll see. We'll know a little bit more late in a couple of days later in the week. That's as far as we get with the UK Met to Saturday. So we are bringing up like a slightly less cold sunny. That's why the upper air temperature is lifting up. Actually, on the surface, I suspect this is still pretty cold, especially for like eastern parts of the country. Nothing has really happened there, I don't think, to stir up the atmosphere. So although the upper air temperatures will probably be lifting up by next weekend, and that probably only lasts like a few days. Despite that, I suspect on the surface it will actually be still very cold and frosty, maybe with some freezing fog as we begin to increase the moisture within the atmosphere. This is how the GFS midnight run was looking. So again, a long fetch easterly wind on Wednesday, bringing the risk of snow. Thursday, slightly quieter Wednesday through to Thursday, and then low pressure tries coming off the Atlantic, so it could be a snow event, particularly for more western parts of the country at the end of the week. We'll know more about that in a day or so's time. Into the weekend, again, here comes those slightly milder southerly southeasts in terms of the upper air temperatures, but I would have thought this is still pretty cold, especially so for eastern and southeastern areas on the surface. Into Sunday, we're trying to reinflate the Scandinavian high. Again, there's a deep cold pool sitting across eastern parts of Europe. This has a really good go at getting wind into the east as we go into the middle part of February. So kind of 1,055 millibar Scandinavian high. We are pulling in the air of the continent. So certainly, you know, low level, bitterly cold continental air coming back in off the continent. In terms of the upper air temperatures, look how cold the upper air temperatures look across central eastern parts of Europe. Absolutely bitter. So if the wind was to get into the east, we would pull that extremely cold air in from the east. Does the GFS midnight run pull it off? No, it doesn't. It sinks the high pressure from Scandinavia down across Western Europe. So we keep that extremely cold air to the east at bay on the midnight ECM run. We have this area of high pressure sitting over the coast. That's not the end of the cold weather though, because we do get retrogression in the end of the high pressure. It starts to move itself up towards Greenland. Look, there it goes into the third week of February, and we start to bring in much colder air from the north and the northeast again. Upper air temperatures show the minus 10 Celsius iceberg attacking from the north this time. So we finish up with the GFS midnight run looking like that in a very cold north or northeasterly wind. And that will bring more snow with it as well. So we don't get it from the east, but we do get it from the north on the GFS midnight run. This is how 6A is looking. That's been updating as we've been talking. So easy winds again in on Wednesday. Benner Ridge builds through the country on Thursday. Turns a little bit quieter. Low pressure out to west, trying to displace the cold air and the high pressure. Struggling to do so though. The low is stalling in the west. Could bring some snow to the west at the end of the week. East areas remain dry and cold. Into the weekend, the Scandinavian high building there, so 1055 millibar. That's an intense area of high pressure over Scandinavia. Deep cold pool sitting across central and eastern parts of Europe. If wind does get into the east, then we're going to be in for it. Look at that extremely severe cold pool of air that's sitting across many northern, central and eastern parts of Europe. If that wind gets into the east, then it will be absolutely bitter. Running up towards day 10, there's a humdinger of a battle going on between that Scandinavian / Siberian high to the northeast and low pressure in the Atlantic. Eventually, though, the Scandinavian high starts to win that battle. So here we go. As we go beyond day 10 to Friday, 19th of February, the Scandinavian high is winning the battle. And we are starting to pull in some extremely cold air from the east. Have a look at these upper air temperatures. Bitter cold air starting to move in from the east as we go through the third week of February. We're a very long way out now, of course. This is unreliable time frame sort of stuff. But the GFS 6Z really does unleash an extremely cold run of easterly winds. Look at that. Very, very cold, bitterly cold by the 21st of February. There's the upper air temperatures. Wow, look at that. Absolutely bitter. The minus 15 Celsius isotherm has pushed through. So maybe, like this week, is just a warm-up for even more severely cold weather to come into the second half of February. If this came off, if we did get like a severely cold spell in the second half of February after the cold weather we've got in the week ahead, then we could actually be looking at a negative CET month of this February. But it is unlikely that this will come off, of course. But we need to keep close on it because the GFS is playing around with this on a few runs at the moment. Did it on last night's 18Z, but I'll probably show you in our live stream tonight. That's how you finish up with GFS 6Z. Again, looking extremely cold, still blocked to our northeast low pressure, still trying to get in from the Atlantic, so remaining very, very cold, up to the end of GFS 6Z, which is the 23rd of February. Absolutely bitter cold continuing there. So that's all to be revealed. It's all a long way off, of course, but with such a deep cold pool sitting over northern and eastern Europe and the Scandinavian high going up to around 1055 millibars early next week, we need to keep a very, very close eye on that. Right, this is how the icon is looking. So again, we've got the easy winds through on Wednesday. Stays cold really through the rest of this week, keeping wind in from like the southeast at the very least into the weekend. Maybe a bit milder for some western areas. I would have thought still quite cold over in the east with the icon. Again, it is trying to build up that high pressure over Scandinavia. GEM looks like this. So again, easy winds on Wednesday. Bit of a battle at the end of the week. Could deliver some snow to the far west. Otherwise, a lot of dry but cold weather continues through the end of the week and into the weekend. Through the weekend, again, we've got this high pressure trying to reach up towards Scandinavia with a deep cold pool sitting across eastern parts of Europe. It takes a while to do it, but eventually we get a proper Scandinavian high going. Again, 1055 millibars, very intense Scandinavian high. And we start to pull in some very cold air from the east. Look at that with the upper air temperatures by day 10. On the GEM, also bringing in extremely cold air from the east. So by day 10, we're absolutely absolutely freezing cold with the GM midnight run as well. There are a few hints, aren't there? A few hints that it could get extremely cold by day 10. Going to be cold enough in the next few days, but this is like another level of cold that some of these models are showing for the second half of February. East MWF, again, wind stream from the east on Wednesday will be cold, and there is a risk of snow in the east. More about that in the live stream. Then it's going to turn drier as we go into the second half of the week, away from west anyway, where there could be some snow as this battle is taking place between low pressure in the Atlantic, high pressure over into the east of the country. Into the weekend, slightly less cold with the upper air temperature, particularly so for more western areas. I think still cold on the surface, though, over in the east, probably an increasing risk of freezing fog as well. So the gruesome twosome could arrive the weekend, fog and frost. And then the ECM running up towards day 10, again looking like this. So high pressure sitting between Scotland and Norway, really, so not as much of a Scandinavian high with the ECM up to day 10. Mainly dry, but still cold and frosty. And of course, where that high pressure goes after that remains to be seen. Upper air temperatures look like that. Nowhere near as cold with the upper air temperature for the ECM across central, eastern, and northern parts of Europe as some of the model output, although very cold through the Balkans in particular. Been pretty mild winter through there, but it'll be turning much colder in the east of Europe, I think, through the next few days. Right, these options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10 from the Icelandic Metals gets us to the 17th of so that's January, isn't it? Let's just flip that over. Sorry about that, everyone. That's January. I noticed that at the last minute. There we go. That's February, 7th of February. Okay, so these are the options on the table. Sorry about that. Well, these are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. Which will get us to the 17th of February. We have 24 members of the ECM ensemble. That was a save, wasn't it? 24 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure over and to the north of the country, bringing winds generally from a cold easterly type direction or northerlies or northeasterlies. That includes the control and the operational run. 16, again, high pressure to the north, bringing winds from the east with back to 1. And then 11 just here, a little bit milder, high pressure more towards our east, southeast, low pressure out to west, could bring up something a bit milder from the south. Most of the options looking cold in 10 days time. In 2 weeks time, these are the options that we've got. This will get us to the 22nd of February. 11 members of the ECM ensembles will have high pressure somewhere between Scandinavia and Greenland. Winds coming in from the east or northeast. 10, again with high pressure from Greenland to Scandinavia. Low pressure to our south, winds in from the east. That could be a very cold option. 8 with high pressure around Greenland. Low pressure to our south. Again, winds likely in from the east or northeast. That could be very cold too. Number 8 down here, looking a little bit more westerly, so they might be a bit milder, although there is still some northern blocking even with those. 7 with high pressure around Greenland and Iceland, low pressure to our south and northeast. That could again be quite cold. And another 7 with high pressure to our east and northeast, and winds again likely to be coming in from an easterly direction. Most of the options are looking cold in both 10 days and also 2 weeks time. CMSV2 finally, so these are 500 millibar heights bringing down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 7th to the 13th of February. The coming week will have northern blocking combined with low pressure, northern block to the north, low pressure to the south combined. Winds will be in from the east. It's going to be a cold and wintry week ahead. Week 2 is going to be the 14th to the 20th of February. High pressure between Greenland and Scandinavia, low pressure away to our southwest. Winds coming in from the east. That looks like it will be a very cold week again. Week 3 is going to be the 21st or 27th of February. Still no real changes, is there? High pressure remains to the north. Winds remain from the east. This will be a very, very cold February, suffice to say, if this CFS run verifies. Week 4, perhaps just a little bit of a change. 28th of February to 6th of March. High pressure just going a little bit further southwards. It's probably still bringing quite cold northeasts, but might be a bit modified, so maybe a little bit less cold there by the beginning of March. But overall, does look as though we're in for a lot of cold weather, if that's right. Lastly, this is how the CFSB2 is looking for March today. 700 millibar height anomaly has high pressure away to our northwest. So probably still hinting at northern blocking even into March. Could be more cold weather. Then, if you can bear it. Right, that's it then for your Sunday roundup. We're going to be back later on. I hope you found it interesting. Smash the like button if you did. We're going to be back later on with a little video for summer, actually. So I've been talking all about winter, but, you know, I thought we'd get a little summer video done. We're going to look at summers following teaser winters. It's going to be quite interesting what. So check that out. Just a bit of fun, you know, just a bit of fun. But check that out if you would like to. And then we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock tonight. We haven't talked much about snow in this video. So we're going to be having a look at the snow potential in our live stream tonight. And of course, we'll go through the 12s there and see whether there's still those hints of like extremely cold air coming in from the east into the second half of February. For the Sunday Roundup, though, that's all for now. We'll do it all over again next week, by the way, with Sunday Roundup. For the Sunday Roundup, that is all for now. And thanks for watching.